The 1970s were loud, powerful, and deadly. We are counting down 10 American cars whose design flaws, fire hazards, and rollover risks made them rolling death traps. From engines that burst into flames to structures that crumbled on impact, these vehicles racked up massive recalls, landmark lawsuits, and devastating body counts. Which one earned the deadliest spot? Let us start the countdown at number 10. In the 10th place, the 1973 Ford Pinto stands as a symbol of cost-driven engineering gone fatally wrong. Ford's decision to mount the Pinto's fuel tank just 2 inches from the rear bumper meant a low-speed rear-end collision could rupture the tank and trigger a fire. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's crash data revealed a rear impact fatality rate of 1.8 deaths per 10,000 crashes, nearly triple the industry average. The scandal deepened when internal Ford memos surfaced, showing executives calculated it was cheaper to pay for burn deaths than to fix the defect. Public outrage peaked after the Grimshaw versus Ford verdict, which awarded $125 million in punitive damages. In 1978, Ford recalled 1.5 million Pintos to retrofit a fuel tank shield, but by then, the car's reputation was irrevocably tied to one of America's most notorious automotive safety failures. Number 9, the Chevrolet Vega reveals how engineering shortcuts in pursuit of cost savings created a cascade of safety hazards. The Vega's lightweight aluminum engine block, promoted as a technological advance, suffered from chronic overheating. When coolant levels dropped or thermostats failed, the block warped and solder joints cracked, sometimes igniting engine fire even without a collision. NHTSA's investigation, cataloged as PE75019, led to a recall of 530,000 units for both fire risk and structural weaknesses. Compounding the danger, Consumer Reports rust tests exposed how the Vega's body panels and undercarriage corroded rapidly, undermining crash protection within just a few winters. Legal battles such as Miller versus GM highlighted the real-world consequences, with drivers losing control after sudden engine failure or structural collapse. While the Vega's rollover rate stood at 2.2%, lower than some rivals, the combination of spontaneous fire and frame decay marked it as a cautionary tale of material compromise in American automotive history. 8th place, the Corvair, produced from 1970 to 1976, stands as a lightning rod for the debate over automotive safety and public trust. The Corvair's swing-axle rear suspension, paired with a rear-mounted engine, produced sudden oversteer and a notorious tuck-under effect in sharp turns. This geometry left drivers vulnerable to abrupt loss of control, especially during emergency maneuvers, an issue that earned the car a 3.5% rollover rate, the highest among rear-engine American models of the decade. Ralph Nader's landmark book Unsafe at Any Speed placed the Corvair at the center of a national reckoning, fueling consumer fear and congressional scrutiny. Amid mounting lawsuits, including the Kelly versus General Motors verdict, Chevrolet recalled 600,000 Corvairs in 1975 to retrofit a stabilizer bar. While later engineering papers argued the suspension flaws had been partially addressed, the car's reputation never recovered, cementing its legacy as a cautionary tale in the evolution of vehicle safety standards. Number 7, the Ford Bronco, produced from 1970 to 1977, marks a turning point in the story of early sport utility vehicles and their hidden dangers on paved roads. With its short wheelbase and high center of gravity, the Bronco had a 4.1% rollover rate, higher than any other American sport utility vehicle of the decade. The original design, meant for off-road agility, became a liability in sudden maneuvers or on highway curves, where the tall, narrow stance could tip the vehicle with little warning. Roof strength was minimal, offering scant protection in a rollover event. In 1978, Ford recalled 850,000 Broncos to relocate the fuel tank and reinforce the roll bar, a direct response to mounting injuries and the findings of both IIHS and NHTSA studies. Legal cases such as Hernandez versus Ford, which ended in a multi-million-dollar settlement, forced public attention on the Bronco's stability flaws. Congressional testimony from safety advocates such as Joan Claybrook described the Bronco as a rolling hazard, underscoring the limits of 1970s engineering when it came to real-world crash survival. Number 6. The Jeep CJ5 from 1970 to 1979 stands as a stark reminder of how off-road design choices could spell disaster on public roads. With its exceptionally narrow track and high center of gravity, the CJ5 posted a 3.8% rollover rate, among the highest for any passenger vehicle of the 1970s. The soft-top configuration left occupants exposed, offering little side protection during a crash or a rollover, especially in rural accidents where the risk was greatest. In 1976, Jeep recalled 400,000 CJ5s to retrofit a reinforced fuel tank shield after rear impact fires drew national scrutiny. Legal action followed. The Anderson versus Chrysler case ended with a $1.2 million settlement after a fire claimed a life. NHTSA crash data and insurance loss studies both flagged the CJ5 as a persistent rollover and fire hazard, cementing its legacy as an icon of ruggedness with a fatal safety gap. Number 5. The 1971 to 1976 Chevrolet Camaro reveals the peril that came with muscle car performance in an era of evolving safety standards. The Camaro's sharply styled front end concealed a dangerously short crush zone, leaving little room to absorb energy in a head-on collision. A study by NHTSA in 1975 recorded a frontal fatality rate of 2.9% for this model, nearly double the average for high-performance coupes of the time. Side impact protection was minimal, with early models lacking reinforced door beams and offering little resistance in a broadside crash. In 1974, Chevrolet recalled 300,000 Camaros to address a critical flaw in the front frame crossmember, a structural weak point that could collapse under crash loads. The dangers were not limited to engineering oversight. In Parker versus General Motors, a jury awarded $1.8 million after a Camaro's front-end failure caused catastrophic injuries. The Camaro's legacy is a stark reminder that speed and style, without robust crash engineering, came at a steep human cost. Number 4. The 1975 to 1979 Dodge Aspen and Plymouth Volare exposes how corrosion and quality control failures put millions of American families at risk. These compact sedans, positioned as practical alternatives to larger gas guzzlers, quickly developed a reputation for severe rust that attacked the front subframe and suspension mounts. In cold weather states, Consumer Reports documented frame perforation and component collapse within just a few winters, leaving steering and braking systems dangerously compromised. Federal investigations revealed a 2.5% frontal fatality rate, well above the segment average, driven by structural failures during moderate speed crashes. In 1977, Chrysler issued a sweeping recall of 1 million Aspens and Volares, the largest of its kind at the time, to install reinforced subframes and fire shields for the rear-mounted fuel tank. Legal action followed. Davis versus Chrysler resulted in a $2 million settlement after a fatal fire. These failures underscored how cost-cutting and poor assembly practices could turn an ordinary family car into a safety hazard. Coming to the top 3, the 1972 to 1978 AMC Gremlin reveals how extreme packaging compromises could magnify danger in compact cars. The Gremlin's sharply truncated rear left almost no crumple zone behind the back seat, exposing the rear-mounted fuel tank to direct impact in even low-speed collisions. This design choice, driven by the need to fit a full-sized engine into a subcompact shell, meant the forces of a crash were transmitted directly to the passenger compartment. The NHTSA Fatality Analysis Reporting System recorded a 3% rollover rate for the Gremlin, among the highest for any American compact of the decade. In 1976, AMC recalled 650,000 Gremlins to relocate the fuel tank and reinforce the front crossmember after a series of rear impact fires and mounting pressure from federal regulators. The Nelson versus American Motors lawsuit, following a fire that killed multiple people, resulted in a $1.4 million settlement and brought national attention to the Gremlin's vulnerabilities. These cases forced a revision of fuel system standards under FMVSS 301, highlighting how the rush to build a budget-friendly car could come at a steep cost in real-world crashes. Number 2. The 1973 to 1979 Cadillac Eldorado stands as a powerful reminder that sheer mass can turn a luxury car into a kinetic hazard. Tipping the scales at roughly 5,000 pounds, the Eldorado carried more than double the weight of most compact cars of the era. This bulk brought longer stopping distances. NHTSA's 1977 brake performance investigation recorded average stops of 250 feet from 60 miles per hour, about 15% longer than a Chevrolet Impala. Early disc brake technology, still in its infancy, struggled under emergency use, with a documented 2.3% brake fade rate in repeated hard stops. The Eldorado's high center of gravity and long wheelbase contributed to a 4.5% rollover rate, an outlier among full-size luxury cars according to IIHS and HLDI studies. In 1978, Cadillac recalled 250,000 Eldorados to retrofit reinforced roof rails and upgrade front disc pads after NHTSA's roof crush tests revealed significant panel deformation. Insurance loss severity studies placed the Eldorado in the top 5% for average collision claim cost, driven by the combination of heavy mass and expensive materials. Regulatory scrutiny following these findings led to strengthened roof and brake standards for all large American cars. The Eldorado's legacy is a case study in how the physics of mass and momentum, when combined with limited structural reinforcement, can elevate risk even in the most prestigious models. And finally, in first place, the 1970 to 1973 Chevrolet Monte Carlo stands as the deadliest American car of the 1970s, a vehicle where style, performance, and cost-saving collided with the hard limits of early safety engineering. Built on General Motors' A-body platform, the Monte Carlo offered a sweeping coupe silhouette, but beneath the surface, its body-on-frame construction lacked the side impact reinforcement that would become standard only years later. The NHTSA Fatality Analysis Reporting System recorded a 3.2% side impact fatality rate for these early Monte Carlos, the highest among midsize coupes of the decade. This vulnerability was compounded by minimal occupant restraint. Lap belts were standard, but three-point systems and side door beams were not yet federally required. The dangers were not just theoretical. In Jackson versus General Motors, a landmark lawsuit, a jury awarded $1.9 million after a side impact collision left the driver with severe spinal injuries, exposing the car's structural weaknesses in court. In 1974, Chevrolet recalled 400,000 Monte Carlos under NHTS, a campaign number 74V114, citing the need to retrofit reinforced side impact beams and improve front crash absorbers. These failures forced federal regulators to revise FMVSS 222, directly referencing Monte Carlo crash data as a catalyst for stronger side impact standards. The Monte Carlo story is a convergence of all the era's safety blind spots, weak structure, insufficient restraints, and performance that outpaced protection, culminating in a legacy that helped drive the evolution of modern crash engineering. As the countdown ends, the question remains, was the pursuit of power and prestige worth the human cost that followed? Across all 10 of these notorious vehicles, one pattern is clear. When style and cost took priority over structural safety, the consequences proved deadly. Today's crash standards exist because these failures forced change. The question remains, was the pursuit of power and style ever worth the price so many paid?